talking about abuse, then a lot of times in those situations, the one with the upper hand normally knows how to manipulate the CPS system and starts making phone calls, or they're being directed by their attorney to make up reports, and they're called frivolous and mischievous CPS reports, which carries in the state of Texas. It is a felony, and it carries a $2,000 fine for each frivolous and mischievous report. So knowing that this kind of dynamic happens, and Kristi, I want you to talk about, how does somebody, get this involved in the game to leverage the case in their favor?
Yeah. I know of a particular person who actually had legitimate concerns for their children and wanted to know, what should I do? Because the divorce situation was already going on. And their attorney told them, don't even bother, because the CPS system is so abused. It's used so many times for that purpose to leverage in divorce that they don't even, that it would actually make a person look bad. So we have a system that either is being manipulated and used for wrong purposes to just get the upper hand and try to make the spouse look bad and trash their reputation, and then they're already on an uphill battle, especially if they're already standing for their marriage, and then they have to fight this also. But that it's so bad that if there is a legitimate concern that you can't,
it doesn't get addressed.
Then literally, if the attorney says don't even bother saying anything, it's that bad. And Jeff had shared a video last week or the week before where this particular person was basically saying that was and she works with CPS, and she's saying that is the feedback that they get is, anytime somebody does that is basically an abuse of the system, and that's how they kind of take it right away. That was her take on it anyway. So it's bad. And
can I just
sure go ahead,
because that video that Kristi's talking about, it was actually by an assistant district attorney in Williamson County. Her name is Leslie Levy. And it was at a seminar that I was videotaping somebody who was a psychologist, a counselor, talking about parental alienation. They gave me permission to continue taping. This assistant district attorney was counseling attorneys on how to use protective orders to get leverage in divorce. And they thought nothing of it, but then once somebody started to talk about the criminality behind it, because basically she was counseling them to commit criminal actions on at least 3 different cases, then all of a sudden I'm getting requests to take down my video. It wasn't requests, it was demands from YouTube. So we reposted it under Facebook. It now has 45,000 views. It has over 1,157 shares. It's gone worldwide, literally.
But that's part of the problem. Is one with the CPS and the frivolous reports. It's a felony, but how many times does someone get prosecuted for that?
I was going to ask you, how many times do you know about it?
You get the runaround. You get told to contact the police. The police tell you, no, contact the DA. If you contact, here in Texas, we have the Office of Consumer Affairs. You get told what the process is and how you need to go through the police, and it's just this circle of everyone saying, no, you need to go talk to this person, and they're pointing right back to the other person that just told you, no, you need to talk to them. And there's a 3-year statute for the criminal side of it to get prosecution, and it's just like, who has that energy to do that when no one is willing to help you?
especially in the middle of a divorce case.
Yes.
That is already hard enough as it is.
Yes. And so it just seems like that's kind of what's done because no one gets in trouble for it.
Well, Cydney, here's a letter that I have from the Department of Family and Protective Services. It is, the commissioner is Hank Whitman.
Okay.
I've talked with him directly. I will tell you that as far as I'm concerned, when I testified in front of Hank Whitman and shook his hand afterwards, he has not kept this promise. That was 2.5 years ago, July of 2016, after the Liliana Wright incident. But this, there was a CPS case involving my youngest grandson. and he was at the hospital. I actually encouraged my daughter to take him in to see somebody because of what he was going through. And somehow in the midst of this, when you talk about nightmares, somehow in the midst of this, I got blamed for filing the report with CPS. And I was telling my daughter, do not go to CPS. They're horrendous. And I've got 18 months. It took me 18 months to finally get CPS to admit that Mr. Morgan made no call. And the only reason they admitted it is because Senator Van Taylor, who's now a congressman, and his office got involved. Now, I was persistent, and people thought I was nuts because I was doing this. But this is what you have to do. CPS does not care about your feelings.
No.
CPS, there was a case in California a couple of years ago, you probably know about this, that CPS was defending the right to lie about parents in order to entrap them and take their kids away. This is the agency that, you know, we've got to call CPS. CPS is there for you.
And talk about that case.
Yeah.
So that was in Judge Burns' courtroom for those that are in Dallas County. And the father testified, and he also had an opportunity to speak when the judgment was getting passed down about how he pleaded with CPS to get help, and his child is dead now. And so challenges that I have, one, and I totally understand that for every call that comes in, they must investigate it. So I totally get that. But I would like if they were, as part of the screening process, to ask, are you going through a custody fight or a divorce? Because to me, I would think that would be a red flag. Because if there was true abuse going on, you should wait until you file to get CPS involved. And so, you know, I've had other state reps on the show, and they've talked about, you know, it's the judges that should be sanctioning these individuals that do this, but I don't know of anybody who's sanctioned anyone for these types of situations. Has that been you guys' experience? I see your face. I don't mean to laugh, because this is not a light, you know, topic that we're talking about,
Right.
and it changes people's lives
Right.
forever.